Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sammy Ketchum, and welcome back to Sammy Ketchum TCG. Tonight, we are going to be talking about a Mega Manetric deck profile in the perfect I can't talk. The perfect order post-rotation format. All right. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Again, I'm doing a deck profile on a deck that nobody is talking about, that nobody is looking out for. This is a deck that's not even on the radar. It's not even on anybody's tier list. But I think this deck is really cool, is really good. And I think this deck with the right text and the right toolbox, it can go the distance and can stand up to the cards in this format. While I'm doing this deck, I'm also going to talk about its strengths and its weaknesses as well. So, and one of the reasons I may or may not, play it to certain cups and events and stuff. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into this deck profile. All right. But before I say anything else, let us have a moment of silence for our friends Manetric and Iron Hands, who rotated, this past April. All right. All right. Just had to have a moment of silence for those guys because I love those guys, with Manetric and Iron Hands. I really did well with, that deck. I took it to a lot of regionals. I played it in a lot of cups and challenges. I even won cups and challenges with Manetric and Iron Hands, along with Mega Manetric. So, those cards will always be in my heart. So let's jump into this. 2 copies of Mega Manetric EX. All right. It has a whopping 330 HP. All right. It is weak to fighting. It's weak to fighting, which honestly is a pretty big problem because we got Mega Lucario and we have Garchomp decks that are running rampant in the format. Mainly Mega Lucario, because Mega Lucario has came out and become a very decent deck in this post-rotation format. So with that said, I may not show this deck too much love, in fear of, getting hit by many Mega Lucario decks. But it has 2 great attacks, all right? Its first attack for 2 lightning energies is Flash Ray. Yeah, Flash Ray? Yeah, Flash Ray. All right. And what this does, it says that it does 120 damage. I mean, that's not a lot. But, it's decent damage. But 120 damage. But what it does, it says that basic Pokemon cannot hit this Pokemon on their next turn. So this blocks basic Pokemon. Just like Terrapagos. Terrapagos' attack. What is it called? Coral something. That blocks basic Pokemon from hitting them. This blocks big basics, little basics, all basics from hitting him. So that is very, very good. So things like Raging Bolt, things like Mega Absol, Slot Box, all that stuff, that's pretty decent in the format now. Basic Pokemon cannot attack him. So you would have to basically hit him with an evolution Pokemon in order to get him. So Flash Ray is very, very good in that sense. His other attack, what is it? Oh, Riotous Beating. Riotous Beating or Riotous Blasting? Riotous Blasting. All right, for 3 lightning energies. All right, it does 200 damage. All right, but if you discard all of the energies attached to him, it does 130 more damage. 130 more damage? Yeah. So this attack can do 330 damage straight up just by discarding the energies attached to him. All right. So 330 damage. That one-shots a lot of things. It one-shots Megas. It one-shots Dragapult. It one-shots just about everything that doesn't have a hero's cape on it. Or some type of modification or tool attached to it. So this is what's really good about Mega Manetric. It can basically go up against anything. Copies of Electrike to go with the Mega Manetric. Three copies of the Electric. 3 copies of the Eels. These are in there for the ability Dynamotor. All right. Once during your turn, you may attach a lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So this is how we're going to keep powering up Mega Manetric, you know, or whatever's on the bench, you know. And this doesn't have to power up just my lightning Pokemon. This could power up any Pokemon on the bench. So I can use this to power himself up. I can use this to power up a Meowth and send Meowth into the active and then use Meowth EX's attack and put him back into my hand or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So Dynamotor, you know, isn't just good for getting the energies from the discard pile and powering up my lightning Pokemon. I can use this to power up other Pokemon as well. So, and this deck is carrying 3 copies because this is our energy acceleration, you know. Of course, 3 Tynamos to go along with them. But we don't want to use Magneton in this deck since we're playing with a big Mega Evolution Pokemon. If we're giving our opponents a prize just to get energies, you know, if they have any way to take out a Mega Manetric, you know, we're done for. That's game. You know, so we don't want that. All right. This is the new cards in the deck. 2 copies of the Dunsparce, along with the Dunsparces. 2 line of Dunsparce. All right. I opted to go with the Dunsparce in this deck because I could have went with Kilowattrel as the draw engine, but Kilowattrel has a big flaw. I have to attach an energy to it either for a turn, or I have to use Dynamotor. I have to use Dynamotor to power up the Kilowattrel, meaning that I won't have energies to power up my Pokemon for attacks. But you know what I'm saying? But I need all of the energies for the Dynamotor and for the turn to power up my Pokemon for the attacks. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem doing that, discarding and drawing up to 6. But when I can't power up my Pokemon at the same time, that's not good. So I opted for this. And this is actually better. This is actually better than Kilowattrel, because not only I evolve them and you draw 3 cards with its ability, and then this gets shuffled back into the deck. This gets shuffled back into the deck, and now I have an open bench space. I have an open bench space. I can put down something else, either another Dunsparce or something else on the bench entirely. But this helps me switch and get out of the active. This does so much. And it's already putting in work in my Mega Charizard deck, which I actually played today at League. But, you know, in this build it does, you know, is just as good and even better. So the Dunsparce is cooking in this deck. One copy of the Miraidon EX from Ascended Heroes. I think this was one of the EXs in the Mega Battle starter decks. But this Miraidon EX is a Terra Pokemon. Yeah, this is a Terra Pokemon. So if I wanted to, I could play Area 0 with this deck and go wide on the bench, because this is a Terra Pokemon and I could just, you know, open everything up. But, you know, I wanted the regular Miraidon from the past. I wanted that to be a Terra, but now we're getting a Terra Miraidon, which I think is cool. It has 2 attacks, Slash and Call for 40. That's crap. And then, well, I mean, it can knock out a Badoo, but its second attack, Random Spark? Well, something Spark. 2 Lightning and a Colorless Energy. This attack does 120. But if you're facing off against a Pokemon EX, it does 120 more damage. So this attack can do 240 damage, which is actually really, really good. So you can knock out a Raging Bolt with this. Anything that's 220 and higher, anything that's 230, whatever, you can knock it out. So I think, you know, I think this is very niche, very good, just for, you know, just for that. Being able to hit 240, you know, is really good. So we have it in here. We also have a way to buff that up too, which I can make it hit 290. So I think that's really, really good. But 240 isn't bad. And it's a Terra Pokemon. 1 copy of Zekrom EX. Zekrom EX has 2 attacks. It has Slash for 50. And then its second attack, Voltage Burst, for 2 Lightning and a Colorless. It does 130 damage. But then it'll do 50 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. 50? Yeah, I think it's 50. Yeah, it's 50. So it's kind of like the old Charizard EX, where its damage cap is based on how many prize cards your opponent has taken. So he gets more powerful as the game goes on. So this is basically like a little in-game attacker. I could send this out mid to late game and be attacking for 280, 330, and on up. You know, the later the game goes on, you know, use this kind of like a little finisher, you know. And not only that, is that I can also scale this up, you know, by 50, and I'll show you what I can use to scale this up as well, to get it, you know, to get it even a higher, hit higher numbers, you know. 130, 130, 180, 230, 280, 3, you know, and sky's the limit. So this card is a decent end game. It was either I play with him or I play with Blood Moon. So if it's not him in this deck, this spot will go to Blood Moon Ursaluna, because they're going to serve the same purpose, be an in-game attacker. One copy of Meowth EX. Alright. It's in here for its ability, Last Ditch Catch. When you're playing from your hand on your bench, you can search your deck for a supporter card and add it to your hand. This is very, very good. We got this in a perfect order format. We've had cards like this before in the Pokemon TCG. Tapu Lele GX. What was it? Gosh, what was the fish? Gosh, I think of Aloha. No. Gosh, I can't think of that fish. But it was a fish card that also searched for a supporter. But yeah, this is very, very good. It also has an attack called Tucktail. It does 60 damage, but you add him. I think him and all cards attached to it, I think. But you put him back into your hand. You know, but if you put him back into your hand and send something else out, you know, you can then next turn play him back down, get another supporter, and have another supporter. But, you know, we're not really going to use this attack in the deck. I mean, I honestly can with the Dynamotors, but we're really not doing that. It's just in here for the ability. One copy of Pheasantipity EX. We all know what this does. One copy of the Fez Sniper. Zeraora. Baby Zeraora. Alright. It's basically in there for its second attack. Thunder Raid. Alright. What this does is you discard all the energies attached to it. And you can basically do 210 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Alright? Anywhere on the field. You could do it to the active or the bench. So what I do is I use this to snipe a Fez off the bench. You know, if my opponent puts a Fez down, this can snipe it. If my opponent puts a Meowth down on the bench, I can snipe it. Meowth, Latias, was it Meowth, Latias, anything that's like 210 and under, I can hit. Well, except for the Ogapons, because the Ogapons are Terras, and Terras have that rule where they have the bench sniping rule, where they can't get hit. But anything else, like Fez, like Meowth EX, we can hit. So this is a very, very good card in here. You know, like something like if I can't take out the active, maybe I can take out something on the bench. You know, it's very, very good. 2 copies of Stunfisk. This is also from Ascended Heroes. This card is very, very good. This is kind of like my little Badu stall tactic, whatever you want to call it. This card is amazing, y'all. This card is amazing. Y'all do not sleep on this card. His attack, Pouncing Trap. Ooh, perfect name for the attack too. What this card does is it does, for 1 lightning energy, does 30 damage. So it knocks out a Badu, which is perfect. Also, it does 30 damage, and the defending Pokemon cannot retreat. So this retreat locks. So if I wanted to strand something in the active and stall for a bit, I can do that because this retreat locks. So you can't retreat, you know, which makes my opponent have to find a way to get out of the active, you know, in order to get out of this lock. What this also does is that, yeah, Pokemon can't retreat. During the next turn, the defending Pokemon takes 100 more damage. Takes 100 more damage during the next turn. So if I retreat lock you and you can't retreat, this attack, not just this attack, but whatever I attack with on the next turn is going to do 100 more damage to you, which is insane. So it doesn't have to be this Pokemon, but if I leave this in the active, that's 130. If I decide to retreat this and bring out Mega Manetric, whatever attacks he does, I can do 100 more damage. Or anything that I attack with can do 100 more damage next turn if the defending Pokemon did not retreat. So that is very powerful. And retreat locking is very good right now if they don't respect it. If they don't have a way to get out of the active. You know, they're sleeping. They're sleeping on this. I just think this is very, very good. 1 copy of Shaman. All right. We want to stop the early Arboliva decks. We also want to stop the water ponds from trying to snipe early. You know what I'm saying? If Zoroark goes off and gets Darmanitan up, we want to be able to stop Darmanitan from sniping off our baby Pokemon. I mean, now granted, they'll still be able to snipe like the EXs, but I want to protect my eels. I want to protect my baby Zeraora and all my little stuff on the bench. So, especially early on, like the Arboliva is a problem. We don't want to lose quickly to stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But now this slot was going to be Psyduck. This spot was going to be Psyduck, but I changed it out because Dusknoir right now isn't that hot. Yeah, Dusknoir isn't that hot right now because we lost Countercatcher and we lost Iono. So there isn't a lot of great compact potential in plays that you could do with Dusknoir. you can definitely, take prizes and do 130 damage and do things like that. But, Dusknoir isn't really that good without counter catcher and some type of great comeback mechanics. So I opted to take out the side up, and I'm putting in the Shaman to stop at least stop some of the early spread stuff on my baby Pokemon. Three copies of Lily's Determination. 3 copies of Carmine. Now, if I lose the coin flip and they make me go first, or they choose second, I can basically choose to go first, or not choose to go first, or if I wanted to go first, I could, but in case I go first, I can use Carmine to get the ball rolling, discard my hand, draw 5 cards, and get my setup going. I had this in my Miraidon deck before, whereas, that deck I wanted to go first because I wanted to set everything up and get Iron Hands going, but now I basically just kept it in this deck so that I'll be able to get at least set up, whether it be the first turn or the second turn, I can get the ball rolling. Two copies of Canary. This is the new, this is one of the new cards from Extended Heroes. The set before Perfect Order. This is very, very good for lightning decks. What this card does is that says that you have to discard a card, all right? But it says search your deck for up to 4 electric or lightning Pokemon and add them to your hand. So 4 electric Pokemon. Doesn't matter if they're basics or evolutions. Just 4 of anything. So you could get 2 basics, 2 evolutions. I can go get my Eels. I can go get Mega Manetric with this. I can get my Baby Zeraora. Just about any of my cards. So this helps me to get set up when I'm under Badoo lock. If they Badoo me, I can use this supporter to get my field out, to get my stuff out. This works under Badoo lock. I can get my setup. I can go find my Mega Evolution Pokemon. Anything. Any of my attackers I can find with this, which is very, 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 very good. So I like this card, and it's about time this sees some play. Two copies of Surfer. This is a very good card. What this card does, it has, really like 2 effects. This card lets you switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Alright. If you do, you can draw up to 5 cards. Draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. So not only is this a switch card, but if you have like a low hand size, you can draw up to 5 cards. So you can replenish your hand, which is very good. If they unfair stamped you or judged you or something, and you used cards from your hand, you could play this, switch out your active, get out of the active, and then draw more cards. What's this really in here for? This is really in here to stop those decks from like retreat locking you. If you have a big Pokemon in the active that you can't get out, you can, switch it out or whatever. With this deck, this is very good in this deck because I have a lot of attackers that make me discard all of my energies. Like Mega Manetric, discard all of the energies. Baby Zero Aura, discard all of the energies. Right? Yeah, discard all of the energies. Since my main attackers basically discard all of the energies, I could switch them out with Surfer, switch them back to the bench, use the Dynamotor, power them up again, attach for the turn, send them back out, and attack with them again. So this card allows me to bring my active Pokemon back to the bench so I can power them up with Dynamotor and then send them back out to attack again. So this actually works with the deck strategy, as well as getting me out of like retreat locks and so forth. It also works well with the Dunsparces in this deck as well. I could switch them out for the Dunsparce, then use the Dunsparce's ability, put them back into the deck, draw 3 more cards, send out back my attacker after powering them up with Dynamotor, send them back out, and it's glorious. So this really helps this deck strategy of repowering up my Pokemon. Three copies of Boss's Orders. Three copies of Buddy Buddy Poffin. This is one of the decks that can also benefit from Buddy Buddy Poffin. Three copies of Pokepad. All right. Search your deck for a Pokemon and add it to your hand. That is not a Roblox Pokemon. This is very good. I can find my Eels with this. I can find a Baby Zero Aura with this. I can find Electrike, Tynamos, you name it. But not my EXs though. But for everything else, I can get them. Only 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Now, you may think that's weird, but I have a lot of Pokemon search in this deck. Like I just showed you, the Pokepads, the Buddy Buddy Poffins. I've got Canary to find the bulk of my Pokemon with searching for, lightning or electric Pokemon and putting them in my hand. 2 copies of Ultra Ball is really all I really need here. So, copy of Night Stretcher. 1 copy of Maximum Belt. See, this is what I was talking about. Maximum Belt increases the damage of my Pokemon to 50 when attacking an EX Pokemon. So this is what I was talking about. This makes Mega Manetric hit 380. So if I wanted to hit 380 damage, I could do that. I can make the Zekrom EX hit even higher damage in the end game to get over a Hero's Cape if it comes down to it. I can make the Miraidon, the Terra Miraidon, hit for 290. I can make it hit for 290 against an EX Pokemon. With that, we're getting low level Mega Pokemon. So this is very, very good in reaching damage caps that I normally wouldn't be able to reach. But usually Mega Manetric can basically KO just about everything. But if there's something that I can't, then this can make up for it. copy of Air Balloon, two copies of Battle Cage. Battle Cage is very underrated and very, very good. This stops things like Dragapult's Phantom Dive damage, the 6 damage counters to the bench. This also stops Frozlaz's spread damage in between turns to the bench. This can stop the placements of damage counters to your bench Pokemon, from your opponent, which is very, very good. Like that, this also stops Dusknoir from popping and doing the damage to the bench. So this is a very, very good card, and it's a very, very great stadium for this deck. And 12 copies of 12 Lightning Energy. All right? The shiny baby. 12 Lightning Energy. This doesn't play 16 like the Miraidon deck before, because we don't have Electric Generator. All we have is the Eels. But the Eels is enough. So that is the deck, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I also want to give a shout out to Team NTR. All right. Team I'm on, Nightly Tournament Run. All right. They are sponsored by Mattyfield. All right. If you like premium foil mats and want to foil out your mat or whatever, check them out and see what they have. All right. The link will be in the description. All right. Other than that, all right, we're going to end this. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, make sure you take care of yourself and each other. Thank you.